A wonderful day. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am your friendly neighborhood finance professor here to break down money in a way that hopefully makes sense to everybody and helps us all learn and grow. Anyway, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, I'm here in lovely Ghana right now. Ghana's beautiful, and the people here are beautiful, and it's really a great learning experience. If you want to actually travel with us in the future, we love to take intelligent trips where you get to have fun and also learn. So if you want to travel with us, our next trip is Ethiopia next year. If you'd like to go, just text the word travel to the number 87948. So text travel to 87948 on your phone, and I will send you notifications. All right. So, how many of you have seen what's been going on with the WNBA? There is a labor dispute happening right now where the players are demanding more money. And some people are saying, yes, you must pay them what you owe them. And then some people are saying, hell no, they don't deserve more money. This is crazy. What are you doing? This makes no sense. Well, I'm going to break this down for you and kind of give you an assessment on this. A lot of you have asked me about this and wanted me to sort of let you guys know what I think. And I want to also make it clear that I respect what you think. So if you disagree, it's okay. It's okay. But, I want to throw in a little bit on this conversation because it's an important conversation. I respect workers, but also I understand the pressures of running a business. The WNBA has had a long, long road. They've needed subsidies from the NBA. They have had a hard time reaching or maintaining any form of profitability. And but that's a nuanced conversation. And so I'm hopeful that you will be open-minded as I break this down in case I tell you something that surprises you or something that disappoints you, because I can see where it's become a politicized topic. Starting with the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark situation, there's a lot of racial undertones to that. A lot of people sort of throwing jabs back and forth, and I feel like this dispute here also creates a lot of energy along gender lines. So let me first of all start off with a breakdown of WNBA revenue, and the bigger question is, when the players say, "Well, you owe me money." A lot of you are saying for legitimate reason, well, where is the money? You're not making money. You're not profitable. And let me kind of give you an assessment on this that'll help you kind of understand a way to kind of frame this a little bit. So let's talk about WNBA profitability, revenue, things like that. First off, total league revenue is about 180 to 200 million dollars. This is up from 102 million in 2019. So the league has had massive growth in the last few years. They've become much more profitable than they've ever been. Women's sports. Anybody remember the time where nobody watched the WNBA, and now everybody's talking about it? Everyone knows. How many of you? In fact, let's do a test. Give me a yes in the chat if you know the name Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. Give me a yes if you know either Caitlin's name or if you know Angel's name. How many of you know Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese? How many of you know about the rivalry? How many of you know about the backstory? How many of you know about the controversies? Give me a yes if you followed any of that. I have, and it's been really interesting. Second piece of information you should probably know about the WNBA is that their broadcast rights, they just got a new media deal that starts in 2026, which will boost their broadcast rights from 60 million a year to 200 million a year. So more money's coming down the pike because attention is a commodity, and they are making money from the increased attention that's being poured onto the ladies. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Many of you have brought this up as well, and I think that's very important to understand is that they have losses and their losses are actually growing, which is just sort of confusing at first. Like, how can you be losing more money? People expect you to be profitable now because you're making more. So what's going on? And so in 2018, the league was losing about 10 million a year. Now this year they're expected to lose about 40 to 50 million. And people are like, how in the hell can you demand a raise when this business is losing money? I completely get that. I totally understand where you're coming from. I'm going to break that down in a second. Just hold on. All right, let's keep going. Let's go through some more stats. WNBA players right now are receiving less than 10% of the total league revenue. In the NBA, that number is more like 50%. So it's five times higher on the male side than it is on the female side. Now, some of you again might make the argument, which I completely respect and want to hear, that says, hey, but the NBA is profitable. They're making more money than they're spending. You're not doing that. The WNBA has survived largely due to a subsidy from the NBA, and that's completely valid. I'm going to break down the nuances on this in a second. Here's what's also interesting. The WNBA has been an amazing investment for people who bought the teams. The New York Liberty, their valuation in 2019 was only between 10 and 14 million dollars. That valuation is now almost $500 million. So that franchise has grown in value from that 10 to 15 million number to 450 million. What this speaks to, when you talk about asset valuation, and you're talking to a guy who wrote his dissertation on asset pricing, how do you price an asset? The ballooning of the value of the New York Liberty speaks to the idea that the New York Liberty are worth far more than the money they're generating right now. See, all economic assets in the universe, everything from a stock to a house to an asteroid, can be valued using the same model. And the model is called the present value of an annuity model. What does that mean? What it is it's a mathematical version of a financial time machine. And what this model basically does is it says, how much money are you expected to make in the future? Not how much money are you making now, not how much money did you make in the past, but how much money are you expected to make in the future? And let's discount that down back to the present and come up with a valuation number. So the fact that the New York Liberty are now worth $500 million damn near is a really powerful argument in favor of the players and their demand for more money, because we know that the New York Liberty and all these other teams wouldn't have their value without the players. So let's keep going here. Per team revenue, the average revenue per team in 2024 was $20.2 million, which was up 53% from the prior year. That's a big deal. The Fever led with 33.8 million. The Liberty had 32.8 million. Attendance growth, average attendance in the WNBA reached 9,807 people per game, which is a 48% increase since 2023. Viewership has increased 170% on ESPN compared to 2023, averaging about 1.2 million viewers per game. Sponsorship volume, league-wide sponsorship, approximately 162.9 million annually via 271 deals across franchises. And the WNBA also receives a subsidy from the NBA of between 10 and 15 million dollars, which, based on the contracts they pay, that's kind of chump change. They probably spend that much money on toilet paper. All right, now I want to get your assessment. I want to hear what everybody thinks based on what I've just shared with you, based on what I've told you about the growth in sponsorship deals, the growth in viewership, the growth in attendance, the growth in revenue, the growth in franchise valuations. Do you believe that the ladies have an argument that favors their right to be compensated at a higher level? What do you think? Do you like it or do you not like it? How do you feel? Give me a yes or no. Just let's do a quick yes or no response on this. And let's not compare them to the NBA. Remember, the NBA took what, 70, 80, 100 years to get to where it is now. The WNBA is going to take some time, but just give me, based on what I told you, do you think that they deserve more money based on what has happened so far? What do you think? And just to recap, I mean, you had a growth in sponsorship deals. You've had a growth in viewership, 170% in literally a couple of years. A growth in attendance, 48% within 1 year. A growth in the market cap of the New York Liberty were worth $14 million in 2019. Now they're worth 450 million, or close to $500 million. Okay, so I'm going to give you sort of a foreshadowing of my conclusion on this. And I looked at this with an open mind. I didn't know what the financials were with the WNBA. I knew that they had increased attendance. I knew that they were making more money, but my first confusion point was, you're losing this money. Where's the money going? What's happening? Well, let me explain why the WNBA is losing money. See this is an important lesson about business. See, you got to understand that not making a profit doesn't always mean that you're losing money. Sometimes you lose money in the short term because you're building value in the long term. Let me give you an example. How many of y'all went to school? Anybody go to school? How many educated Negroes we got up in here? How many of y'all went to school and spent tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars going to school? Give me a yes or no. Anybody, if you didn't go to school, that's okay too. We love you too. We love everybody. I say this is the platform for intelligent Black people, but that don't mean you got to be intelligent. You just have to value intelligence. You have to value investing. You have to value sacrifice. So what I want you to think about is this: spending $200,000, and you probably went in the hole doing this. Spending $200,000 and losing money for several years, that ain't the same as if you had taken $200,000 and went to the strip club with it. Do you understand? So spending 100 grand on school is not the same as spending 100 grand on Gucci bags, right? Or if I spend a couple 100,000 investing in my business, that's not the same as you spending $200,000 on Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis. Do you understand? Those are two different. One's an investment, one's an expense. One adds value, one destroys value. You got to know the difference. And the reason that that difference is important is because that explains why. Which I was kind of baffled by. That explains why the WNBA has experienced astronomical growth in its platform, growth in its sponsorships, growth in its revenue, but it's still operating at a loss. Losing money, just make sure you please understand this. And because I had a student that asked me about that today, they said that, well, this business doesn't make a profit. Does that mean it's a bad business? Well, I explained it like this. I said, if losing money makes it a bad business, then that means Amazon was a horrible business because Amazon lost money for 7 years before it started to become profitable. Now it's worth about $1.8 trillion dollars. If losing money makes it a failing business, that means Tesla's a failing business, even though Elon Musk is now the richest human being in the history of the planet. Maybe Mansa Musa was a little higher. Who knows? I don't know. It was a big difference. Like, I'm a vote for the black guy, but still. If losing money and not being profitable makes your business a failure, that means Uber is a complete failure because Uber lost $8.5 billion in 2019. And WNBA is losing 40 million. Uber lost 8.5 billion. Why in the hell would you stay in business when you lost 8.5 billion? That's because the money that Uber was spending was a slingshot and a boomerang that will propel them to become the company that they are now. Now, I don't know. I can show y'all the stats. I've been an investor in Uber for a while. And let me tell you something. Uber has made a lot of money for my family. Let me see what the stock price is done. I'm going to show you the stock so you can just kind of look at it. And you can see what the stock was doing back when it was losing. Yeah, oh yeah, it's up 192% in the last 5 years. So it's tripled my money in that time. This is how you make money, by the way. The stock market is the number one wealth creator on the planet. I don't know why people don't believe that. I don't know why people think they can get rich without investing or sacrificing. That really doesn't make sense. That's like thinking you can pull something out of the ground, but you never planted a seed. But you can't get food out of the ground if you didn't plant it. So here, look at Uber stock. Look at Uber stock price. It's been pretty low. It's been as low as $21 a share. It's now $91 a share. Last 5 years, it's up 192%. Just the last year alone, it's up 34%. Year to date, it's up 44%. So here you can see this is back when Uber was losing ridiculous amounts of money. So Uber was losing ridiculous amounts of money, but it had a valuation that was in the billions. How, Sway? How does that happen? Well, that's because losing money does not make your business good or bad. That's just one characteristic. That's just one measuring stick. Some of y'all may be losing right now, but you're winning long term because you're not wasting resources. You're making investments. This is important to understand because a lot of people will see that entrepreneur who's scrapping by, ain't making no money, spending his last nickel, barely making it, and you'll think he's losing when really what he's doing is he's setting himself up to be a winner. So here's what I'm going to say about the WNBA. This is my point on this, and this is an important business lesson. If your only argument, I'm not saying that you should agree with me on any of this. You don't have to. It's fine. But if your only argument for the ladies not getting more money is to say that they are not profitable, therefore you don't deserve more money, I have to tell you that that argument is fundamentally and completely 100% wrong. That argument implies, unfortunately, that you may not understand the nature of business. Did you, in fact, let me give you another example just to kind of freak you out. How many of y'all know that if you were to go to Warner Brothers right now and ask them, was the Harry Potter franchise profitable? You know what they would say? They would say, no, it wasn't profitable. And you would say, how is it not profitable? It was one of the highest selling movies of all time. Well, because we look at you show the counting and the numbers, and it says, see, we look here, see, we lost money. But that's because they were kind of playing with the books, right? We know their franchise is profitable. Get the hell up out of here with that. So the WNBA, now they're not quite the same as Warner Brothers. I don't think they're playing with the books. I think they're making good long-term investments. A lot of the money, when you wonder like, well, how are they still losing money if they're supposedly growing? A lot of the money is going into things like marketing, travel upgrades, media partnerships, player amenities. They also have requirements now where all the teams have to have charter planes to fly their players around instead of having to ride the team bus like they're still in high school. As you grow, the costs grow. The players are smart. They see, and the administrators are smart. The coaches are smart. They see that the New York Liberty has pretty much, what is it, 10, 15, 20x its value in the last 5 years. So they're asking for a piece of that. Cash flow and wealth are two different things. So they're asking for additional cash flow because they see the growing wealth. That's what they see. And so the thing is that you have to understand that profitability is only one measure of where you are financially. A lot of people are making money right now, getting money now, and they're not going to have any long-term wealth. And there are lots of people who seem to be losing now, but their wealth is going to be massive because wealth and valuation are two different things. So the bottom line on this is that based on what I'm seeing, and again, my opinion is not the gospel, it is just based on the facts that I'm seeing, the players are making an accurate argument. Because what they're basically saying is they're saying, yeah, you're not profitable, but being unprofitable does not mean you're unvaluable. Right. So having a profit is not the same as having value. We see that the New York Liberty as an entity has gained 400 million in its market cap in the last 5 years. They're probably going to have billion-dollar franchises in this league within definitely less than a decade, maybe 5 years, especially when the private equity money starts to go into the league. So the idea that the women are making 10% of league revenue and the men are getting 50% of league revenue means they really have a point. I side with the ladies. Now maybe 2 years ago, before the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark rivalry elevated the visibility of the league, I would have maybe I would have said something different because I didn't see a lot of indicators to show me that this league long term was going to be as strong as it is now. But now this WNBA of 2025 is not the same as the WNBA of 2022. Those are two different leagues. And so this increased attention, what that's done is that's led to these blockbuster media deals. It's led to massive growth in the valuations of the teams. It's led to lots of opportunities that exist now that didn't exist before. Merch sales, I bet, are going up. So don't ever think that because they're not making a profit means that they're not doing well. The reason they're not making a profit is because they see what the league is worth now and they're seeing the growth potential of the league long term. Growth requires cash flow. A growing company is like a hungry baby. A hungry baby eats everything. So what happens is when you have something that's growing, you don't want to pull cash out of that business. You want to pour cash in. You take on the debt. You take the extra money and you reinvest it because you're seeing a longer term vision. So profitability, that's a one-dimensional measure of how well this league is doing. Remember, Uber was incredibly unprofitable when they lost $8.5 billion in 2019, but they could have been profitable back then if they'd wanted to. It's easy. If Uber had wanted to be profitable in 2019, all they'd have to do is stop investing. Just like if you're in school right now and you're only making 20,000 a year because you want to focus on school instead of going out into the world and getting a job. If you want to make more money, it's easy. Just drop out of school, go make 40,000 a year, and then you'll have $20,000 more that year. Some people do that, and those are not long-term investors. Long-term investors say, I sacrifice now so I can have more later. The WNBA, whoever's running the finances of that league, is intelligent economically because they see what this league, they don't just see what the league is, they see what this league is becoming. And I don't fault them one bit. They are sitting on a league, in my view, that's going to be worth 20, 30, 40, 50 billion dollars in the next few years. And my wife just came to me and told me Malcolm Jamal Warner just passed away.
Can't be true.
I hope it's not true. Let's hope it's not true. Y'all go can go look it up if you can because she's throwing me off now. I hope he's not. I hope he's not passed because I know Malcolm and I like him and that would just be terrible. And I hope that is just fake news. So I'm looking to see
TMZ.
right now. Did TMZ say it? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
saying
He's
what's true of TMZ.
yeah he drowned on a family trip. Wow, that's terrible. Oh my gosh. Well, RIP to Malcolm. Wow. He's such a good guy. I have had so many conversations with him inside the DMs of Instagram.
Interrupt you, Brad.
No, and he was such a nice because you know what I liked about I'm sorry. Let's change the topic just a little bit because we got to honor this brother. He's a good brother. You know what I liked about Malcolm was one time I put something on Instagram that he didn't agree with, he didn't understand it. And he did something most people don't do. Rather than getting mad about it, he said, I don't quite understand where you're coming from. Can you explain that to me? And when I did, he understood. I don't know if he agreed, but he understood. And I made a little joke with him. I said, yeah, well, I said, I don't need you to be in the same room with my woman because I'm sure she has had a crush on Theo Huxtable like all the other girls did. So, so, but he was a great guy. Man, that's so sad. Drowning. Holy crap. That's terrible. Well, RIP to Malcolm. So Malcolm Jamal Warner. And this was a solid brother. I mean, he was not one of those goofballs in Hollywood. Yeah, he was a poet. He was a righteous black man. Well, my condolences to Malcolm and his family, and forgive me for interrupting the conversation that we were having before on this, but I think it's worthwhile. I think this guy's is worth it's worth sort of honoring in that way. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go meditate on that. That makes me very, very sad. Sheesh. Drowning. Oh gosh. Yeah, so okay. Well, let's tie this conversation up so we can finish up for today. And I shade him out to Malcolm. He's with the ancestors now. So God bless him and his family. This is a very sad day for those of us who respect him. And I can tell you from my little bit of knowing him, he was a real one. He wasn't not everybody's real on TV, believe me, but he was a really good guy. Sheesh, that's so terrible. All right, so anyway, let's finish up this conversation about the WNBA. If you want to know first off, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, I'm in Ghana right now, and we like to take intelligent trips around the world. So if you like to travel with intelligent black people, just text the word travel to the number 87948. If you text travel to 87948, I'll send you notifications when we get ready for Ethiopia, Washington, D.C., and some other places we're going to go together. In addition to that, if you want to learn about stock options, we have a great stock options training class in the Black Business School. It's a great way to make extra money if that's your thing. So if you like to learn how to safely invest in stock options, I don't roll the dice. I don't like to play around with money like that. But if you like to try it out, feel free to go to drboysprime.com. It's right there on the screen, and it is really good for those of you that want to find ways to make extra money without working. So literally, I have a training called How to Make Money Without Working that's pretty popular. So don't put the word travel in the chat. Text it to the number 87948 on your cell phone, and I'll send you information about our next trip to Ethiopia. All right. So here are some more examples of companies that were losing lots of money for a very long time and are now very profitable. Airbnb lost hundreds of millions of dollars every year. But they were not a bad company. They're now worth $100 billion. Netflix had negative cash flow literally for 20 years. How crazy is that? Netflix literally, if all you did was look at the profitability of Netflix for 20 years, you would have thought this was a terrible company. But the reason they were cash flow negative is because they were investing in the future. Now Netflix, I don't know if they've hit $1 trillion market cap yet, but I know my Netflix stock has made a boatload of money for my family. And I have a substantial investment in Netflix. So if you want to know a stock I like, I really like Netflix. In fact, I'm gonna buy some more Netflix stock today, most likely. And in fact, I'll share my screen so you can kind of see what Netflix has done. And the biggest thing I want you to understand is that profitability is not the same as valuation. So the WNBA is not profitable, but they're extremely valuable. I would love to own even 10% of the New York Liberty. That's pretty massive. But if you look at Netflix stock, it's gone up what 157% in the last 5 years, 90% this year. So the stock keeps going up and up and up. And this is a great company. And so, but the thing is, if all you focus on is profitability, then you would think Netflix was a bad company. Here's some other examples of companies that have lost money for a while and are doing quite well. Let's see here. Spotify. Spotify's been losing billions of dollars since it launched. I don't even know if they're profitable yet. They're doing what is called a loss leader model. They're investing heavily in the future. DoorDash lost 1.4 billion in 2020 alone. And think about that. 2020 was a year where everybody was ordering DoorDash. So how in the world did you lose 1.4 billion in a year where everybody was ordering DoorDash? Well, it's because they were making money, but they were spending and investing more than they were making. Spending is not the same as investing. Spending means you're throwing money in the toilet. A lot of us as a community, we love to spend money. We love to go pop it into a stripper thong, go buy some Air Jordans, go waste it on a new Cadillac because we saw it advertised on BET. That's spending. But if you're taking your money, you're putting it into your business, that's investing. You're putting your money into the stock market, so you're feeling a little bit broke, your pockets are light because you're putting money in the market, that's investing. Investing means you're going to get that money back and then some. Spending means the money's going to disappear and it's gone forever. One more company that's doing really well right now that lost a ton of money was Palantir. Palantir lost over $500 million in 2020 alone. That company is now worth more than $50 billion. So I can keep going down the list. So the WNBA, in my view, is another Uber. It's another Palantir. It's another Amazon. Now they may not have a $1 trillion valuation like some of those companies, but the WNBA, mark my word, based on everything I know about valuation, the WNBA is exceedingly more valuable than it was just a couple years ago. In fact, I dare say that their valuation has probably increased by $3 or $4 billion or more. It just from the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark era, just in that era. So the question then becomes this: if you know that the league has increased in value by, let's be conservative, let's say it's just $1 billion, wouldn't you think that the ladies that go on the court deserve a little more of that money? I say the answer is yes. And I know that that's debatable. I know that's controversial. I know some people have their opinions, but this is based on what I know about asset pricing. There's a lot of money being made right now in that league. Don't let the profitability fool you. A lot of people make that mistake. They used to say that about Trump. They'd say, well, look, his business has lost money. That means he's a terrible businessman. And what they don't understand is that a lot of businesses don't want to make a profit because they don't want to pay taxes. So they have write-offs and depreciation and all these other things that allow them to give the impression of not making any money. That's how Jeff Bezos could be one of the richest human beings on the planet and pay almost no taxes. Warren Buffett said one year, he said, I paid less in taxes than my secretary did. See, taxes are typically paid, unfortunately, in America by working people who get a check and they pay a percentage of their check. But when you talk about businesses, it's a whole different ballgame, people. That's why I tell you, when it comes to your kids, don't just teach them how to get a job. Teach them how to create a job. Don't just teach them how to work for other people. Teach them also how to work for themselves. Don't just teach them how to go rent things and be a subordinate. Teach them how to own things and be a boss. Because when you're the boss, you can shift and decide how much income you want to appear on your taxes based on what you write off and all that stuff. So make no mistake about it. The WNBA is doing extremely well even though they're not profitable. In fact, I dare say that if they wanted to be profitable, they could easily become profitable, but they'd have to stop investing, which I think would be a bad move because now's the time for them to pour money and dump money into the league. Now, another question that would pop up is I don't I'd wonder also, do you need that 10 to 15 million dollars subsidy from the NBA anymore because maybe the league has grown up? I think the subsidy gives the impression that they can't take care of themselves, and I think that runs contrary to the narrative that the league is as strong as it is. I would also say overall that when this dispute is done, I think what's going to happen is the players are going to push it. The league is going to give them something a little more reasonable. They're going to get away with maybe giving them 25% of the total revenue, which still makes them far better off than the NBA. And the people that are going to get the richest off the WNBA are going to be the owners of these dang teams. The team owners are the ones who are going to get paid. And what's going to also happen, in my view, is I bet you that you got private equity firms looking to make massive investments in these teams so that they can also take a big chunk of that pie. They don't invest in things when they expect to lose money. And the other piece too is that if there are any of these teams that ever become publicly traded, and I'm going to look into this, I'll let you guys know what I find. I would buy shares in these companies. Like I would buy shares in the WNBA. Like if the WNBA would trade it as a stock, and I again, forgive me for my if I don't know if it is and there's something's being traded and I don't know about it, forgive me. But if it were a stock, I would buy that damn stock because the profitability is not as important as the valuation. Profit is a one-time number. Valuation reflects all time. Valuation reflects past, present, and future. Those are two different numbers. That's two different levels of financial consciousness. All right. So speaking of financial consciousness, I teach a free class on financial consciousness every morning. If you want to understand these ideas better and deeper so that they can benefit your family, put money in your pocket, put you in a stronger economic position, text the word morning to the number 87948. So text morning to 87948 or go to drboyceelevate.com and there's free stuff there and I'd be happy to support you. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I run the Black Business School and I was on the faculty at Syracuse University for over a decade. And so finance is my thing and this is what I love to do. And I really, really care about our people the most, but it doesn't mean I don't care about all people. So you don't have to be black to be here, but blackness is my top priority. So God bless you guys. Have a great day. Hit that thumbs up button before